G'day, I'm Matthew Vujcich, student ID 169419141.
And I'm Matthew Steiner, student ID 169499385.
The New Zealand policy that we will be examining today is surrounding the packaging of cigarettes and other tobacco products upon sale. Firstly, tobacco products are now all in plain packaging since the 14th of March 2018. Since this came into effect, manufacturers of tobacco have only been allowed to print on their products a brand name and a variant. There are, however, regulations surrounding even this, standardizing how they all look. This includes, but not limited to, where they must be on the packaging, what font it is, the size of the font, and the colors of the text on the packaging. This is all done in order to standardize all tobacco products. The effect of this is discouraging brand loyalty and advertising by companies, as people who are starting to smoke for the very first time may not actually know any brands, and if they attempted to start, will most likely buy the brand they either recognize from friends who smoke or from family members who smoke at home. It also discourages first-time smokers, as there is a real social stigma in New Zealand about smoking, and consumers who are trying to start smoking may feel awkward holding up lines in stores trying to figure out which tobacco products to buy, as they don't recognize any and don't know which ones are going to be best for them, or if they even want to. Since December 2013, there have also been graphic warning images on the packaging, and since early in 2018, a new set of 14 images and warning labels have been circulated around tobacco packaging. These take up approximately 75% of the packaging, and they aim to show the effect of smoking on your health and well-being. These images contain things such as lungs filled with tar from smoking, warning messages and images about tobacco causing blindness, and also the effects it can have on your family through secondhand smoke, with images and warnings about the effect it has on your children. This is a prime example of behavioral economics, as it is not outright forcing individuals to stop smoking through laws and punishments. However, it is influencing their opinion of smoking and trying to nudge them away from smoking or starting by forcing home the realities of both the health issues it causes and the effects it can have on the people around you.
Thanks, Matt. Now we will look at the effect of an indirect tax on the market for cigarettes. First, we will look at the market graph after a tax is imposed. This can be used to illustrate the effect on cigarettes after this has occurred. These indirect taxes increase the production cost for the supplier. This in turn shifts the supply curve left, meaning the after-tax market equilibrium prices rise and the quantity demanded falls. This is what you want to achieve to negate a demerit good such as smoking. Also, to illustrate this, we will look at a budget constraint and an indifference curve. To do this, we will look at two goods, cigarettes and e-cigarettes. We will use Auckland data to illustrate this across a month. We have identified the price of cigarettes to be $27, looking at a 20-pack of Marlboro cigarettes, and the price of e-cigarettes as a 30ml Shosha brand e-juice refill, priced at $7. We've also identified the average weekly pay in Auckland to be $1,120, and we are going to assume that all income is spent on these two goods for this. We have identified from that the budget constraint to equal 27 times x1 plus 7 times x2 to equal 1,120, the income. We have also used an assumed utility function of 10x1 cubed times x squared to the 0.5. Given these parameters, we use the economic principle that marginal utility of x1 negative over the marginal utility of good 2 equals the negative of the price of good 1 over the price of good 2. From this, we were able to figure out the quantities and total utilities in this scenario. We identified that the quantity of good 1 would be 40.8 and the quantity of good 2 would be 2.6 in this optimum consumption bundle. The utility we identified is approximately 1,090,000 utils. Now, to illustrate the effect of the tax, we will assume the current New Zealand policy for smoke-free 2025 of 10% tax hikes per year on top. For a 20-pack of cigarettes, it will rise to $17.57, up from $15.97 in 2018. This is an increase of $1.60 into 2019. The new budget constraint for this will be $28.6 x1 plus 7 x2 equaling 1,120. We will use this to do more math for the indifference curve and budget constraints to identify the new optimum consumption bundle. From redoing the math with the new budget constraint, we have identified that the quantity of cigarettes demanded has decreased to 38.5 on 2019, and the quantity of e-cigarettes juice increasing to 2.62. Utility has also decreased to approximately 925,000 utils. The tax therefore had the desired effect. The optimum consumption bundle now has reduced consumption of cigarettes. It is, however, only a small change, though, as we will see as the price elasticity of demand is fairly inelastic. We use the price change and the quantity change from the prior examples to find that the elasticity of demand of cigarettes is 0.94. This is therefore inelastic and means that it is fairly unresponsive, the quantity, to the changes in price. This data is only for all Aucklanders, though, and therefore for just smokers, this result would probably be even more inelastic and have even less of an effect. Therefore, as a policy, the result is as desired, as the consumption of cigarettes has decreased. However, the change is fairly insignificant, and so as a policy, is not likely the best option to implement.
Our idea for a new original New Zealand behavioural economics policy is to remove smoking areas from bars and nightclubs. At the moment, most bars and clubs have got smoking areas in them where smokers can go and have a smoke without having to leave the club or bar, so they can still be around with their friends and have a smoke at the same time. By removing smoking areas in these places, smokers will be forced to go outside if they want to have a smoke, leaving their friends inside. By leaving the bar or club, they will then be forced to get back in the line and waste their time waiting in the line to get back in. And once they get back in, they will have to once again pay the cover charge to get in. If the club charges $10 to get in, and somebody leaves 3 separate times to have a smoke, they've already spent $30 on door charges alone, making a single night out all the more expensive, and a lot more boring for those people who are the only ones who smoke out of their friend group, as most of their friends will not be too happy to waste their time lining up again and spending heaps of their money going in and out of a bar when they don't have to. We expect this to have quite a large effect on people smoking in town, as a lot of people only smoke when they drink in more of a social setting. By taking this social setting away, we expect both the numbers of people smoking to decrease and the amount that people smoke to decrease. The idea behind this policy is not to outright ban smoking, but instead to make not smoking the more desirable option, and to also make it harder for those who do smoke.
As a society, we have decided that the negative outcomes of smoking on your own health and the health of those around you means that we should discourage the consumption of smoking in our communities. As a result, there are many economic policies to help reduce these numbers. Firstly, New Zealand has its plain packaging and graphic imagery policies. These behavioural economic policies discourage smoking by graphically displaying the horrendous health effects smoking can have, and the boring packages don't entice purchases. Secondly, we looked at the effects of applying an indirect tax to the market. This reduces the consumption of the good by making consumers less able to afford it, and by altering a consumer's optimum consumption bundle to include less cigarettes. Thirdly, we proposed our new removal of smoking areas in bars policy. This will result in less opportunities to begin social smoking, and to frame the option of not smoking as being a more desirable option.